Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the show. So, we have just gotten back from vacation, my wife and I, and on Sunday. And when I got back, I was welcomed with an awesome thing. Our channel has officially reached 100 subscribers, which is great because 100 subscribers means that I can change the URL. So now it's youtubes.com/c/blips and pips rather than /WXY3942 whatever. And it's just a cool landmark. I mean, I really didn't, I just made this channel for fun, still am, obviously, just making it for fun. And I just really want to thank you guys for watching, guys and girls, whoever, for watching and supporting the channel and liking it and subscribing, of course, and commenting and everything. It's been awesome. That being said, I reached out to a bunch of people who are active in talking with me with these videos. And I wanted to see, hey, what do you guys want me to do for the 100 subscriber episode? I mean, I know it's hopefully a tiny landmark in the future, but as for right now, it's my first big landmark. So the options were maybe like a top 10 type thing, or my first thought was showing off a piece of my collection, and then I remembered, hey, I got to talking to my one patron on my Patreon, Ziba1331, become a great friend of the channel, and I was like, what are you thinking? And he really wanted me to show off my working designs shelf, and which really lined up with something I wanted to do anyway, showing you guys a bit of my collection. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go over my working designs collection, and also I'm going to throw in a couple more games into this shelf because Working Designs obviously closed out of business, but one of their big projects was Lunar, and Lunar kept going. So that's what we're going to do today. The other ideas that I got for my 100 subscriber episode are actually going to be future episodes because they were great, and I was like, these are all good ideas. So we're going to have one official 100 subscriber video, this one. But we're going to have several videos using the ideas that were given to me by friends and fans. So anyway, as per normal, let's get to it. So for those of you who don't know, Working Designs was a company that made really awesome kind of special edition games before special editions were such a big deal. I actually have a semi-complete Working Designs collection. I have everything from the Sega CD up to their PlayStation 2, which means the only things I'm missing are their TurboGrafx 16 games, which I'd love to have, but they're just so hard to find. I really haven't been able to justify getting them yet. The only other thing on this shelf that does not quite belong Working Designs are supplemental games to series. So one of their big things was bringing Lunar over. So on this shelf, I also have the 2 Lunar handheld games. Another one of their big games that they brought over was Magical Knight Rayearth. So I have the Magical Knight Rayearth Game Gear. Anyway, we're going to go and I'm going to unbox these crazy special editions and show you what this shelf is all about and why this is a pretty awesome part of my collection. Alright, let's go ahead and start with some of the weird stuff on the shelf. One of the first things that a lot of people notice is this punch puppet. It was actually a limited edition interactive amusement. It's literally like one of those old punch puppets that you'd kind of, press the thumbs and it boxes out. I would open it and take him out, but he's kind of a pain to get back in. The funny thing about this box is they show the hero. So this is actually the villain of the game. And they show the hero, but from what I understand, this puppet was actually never made available to the public, which is pretty interesting that they have him on the back. But the funny thing is these little phrases here, I won't read them out loud, but I will slowly pan, let me get for the glares out of the way, over so you guys can read them, slow down the video or whatever, but they are pretty funny little bits on there. But this is a cool thing. He kind of takes center stage of my shelf because he is massive. But it's a cool part of the collection. Anyway, moving on from that, Other weird oddities that aren't exactly games, but are game related. When we get to the Sega Saturn area, you'll see that one of the games they brought over was Magical Knight Rayearth. Now, in Japan, they made a Magical Knight Rayearth Game Gear, officially with a cartridge of the game that is also red. Very cool. My only problem with this that I have right now is, like most Game Gears, in fact, all the Game Gears I have, it has bad capacitors. I do not currently have the knowledge to fix it myself, but everything else is good. It powers on, the batteries are clean, there's no corrosion, it powers on and works. If you turn it at an angle, you can see the screen, but other than that, it's unusable currently. I'm currently in the market to find someone to help me fix it, but that will be for another day. Maybe one day I'll get it fixed and can do a video on it. That'd be really cool. But now let's go on to something I'm a huge fan of. You'll find out one day, I'm sure. I love strategy guides. I love them, and Working Designs really took it to the next level. So here's their guide for Alundra. Actually, I found this one semi-recently. I didn't even know it existed. I mean, these things are just beautiful. Full color. I mean, scenario writer has like Q&As in it. I mean, talk about going above and beyond. My favorite standard guidebooks is a company called Versus Books. One day I'm sure I'm going to do a video on them because I love them so much. But these remind me a lot of that. They just took way more time and effort to make than anything else. And the cool thing with these books are, this one specifically, they have these stickers in the back, which are really cool, right? All your characters and stuff. Then they have these stickers for memory cards. They have for the end of your PlayStation memory card where it says Alundra, and then they have actual stickers where you can stick them on the top part if you remember how the PlayStation 2 memory cards looked. Very cool. Lunar 2, same thing. I mean, they got the stickers on the back. Looks like someone took out the free poster mail-in receipt for this one. But I mean, they got the stickers on the back. Some of these stickers are missing, sadly, but it's the same thing, where you can have the end of your memory card and the labels for your actual card itself. Now, Lunar 2, this one's a hardback book. Actually, this one was very funny how I got it. There was an eBay seller that was just sold books, just regular old books. And I don't know how I found it, but they were selling this book for like, $10 shipped or something like that, because they're just like, oh, just selling random video game book. And I was like, oh man, look at that. I mean, God, they even break down the cutscenes. It's just so cool. These books, they spent so much time in these. And once again, stickers, of course. I mean, they really, really went above and beyond with these things. They're just so good. And then, of course, Vanguard Bandits, another hardback book. Same thing. The stickers in the back are always very cool. Vanguard Bandits is a weird RPG that involves mobile suits. And, these were really cool to add to my collection. I really don't know if there are any books I'm missing. And these are the only 4 I have. If you guys know of some books that I don't know about, please let me know. I really haven't done that much research. So, for all I know, this could be incomplete. But now, getting to the games. I'm going to go ahead and knock some non-Working Designs games off first, because we'll be talking about Lunar soon. So, these are the 2 handheld Lunar games. Lunar Dragon Song for DS. I mean, it's a DS game. Nice little turn-based RPG. Really cool graphics. This is a custom case I made for the Game Boy Advance version. I have the manual in it. But Lunar Legend. Just a couple cool things that I have on there just to fill out the series. This is very, very fitting. This is the PSP Lunar game. Now, it's done by Xseed, which is really cool, because if you know anything about collector's editions, Xseed kind of took over the reins when Working Designs worked their way out. So, Silver Star Harmony, and this came with a soundtrack, and it also came with these cool cards of all the characters. Kind of weird collector-y stuff. I guess it just has all their information on the back. To be honest, I haven't really looked at these cards. I just played the game. But it's just really neat how these companies came through and made all this cool stuff. And you're really going to see some awesome stuff when we get to the real meat of this collection with the working designs themselves. So, moving on to PlayStation 1. One thing you'll immediately notice about Working Designs games is holographic covers and spines. So Vanguard Bandits is a really cool game. It's, like I said, it's an RPG that has like mobile suits. And one thing you need to know about Working Designs, I don't know if Vanguard Bandits was one of their cases, but a lot of these games, they had variations of the disc art. So, you know, my collector's edition and your collector's edition could be totally 100% different. The one thing, this game was supposed to come with a demo. I do not have that demo, and that really saddens me. There's actually 2 little nicks in my collection, and that's one of them. The other one will come up in a second. Thunder Force 5, another cool game from them, a shooter. I'm not really that big of a shooter fan, a shmup, or whatever you want to call them, but the 2 they did were awesome for the PS1. Silhouette Mirage. Now, this is the other one that I have a little bit of an issue with. I bought this game at a secondhand store. Everything seemed perfect. Oh, look, here's the original receipt. You know, got the cool disc, the book, and everything. But then when I got it home, I realized that the spine art wasn't there. Like, the back art was there. It's like someone opened the case up, took the spine art off only, and put it all back together. So on my shelf, like I said, all the spines are shiny and holographic, except for this one, and it drives me nuts. I've never found another copy of this game out in the wild. I'd really like to get a replacement case. Just, I don't know, it's the OCD in me. Raystorm is one of the other shooters. This one, apparently, you can win $10,000. And Ray Crisis. These are 2 of their shooters. Both cool games. Like I said, I'm not even a big shooter guy. Maybe I like them because it's part of this collection. I don't know. Maybe I'm just justifying it to myself. This game is awesome. Elemental Gearbolt is a light gun shooter that uses elements to hurt different enemies. You have to toggle between elements. There was actually a collector's edition of this game that came with a special gun. And I'm wanting to say, like, just a handful of them are made. I saw one at the Video Game Museum in Dallas. I mean, they go for, I don't even know what the price on something like that would be, probably bajillions of dollars. But this game itself is actually one of the cheaper Working Designs games. That's another thing, I'm not really going to say prices of these games. They are expensive, I'll tell you that. I mean, like, the cheapest Working Designs game is still expensive by regular collectors. And then the expensive ones are just astronomical. Lucky for me, I end up lucking out on a lot of these games. But, you know, you gotta pay the iron price for some of them. Last but not least, though, Alundra. More people know of Alundra 2 rather than Alundra. This is another one, you know, so Working Designs, kind of like Exceed, and companies like that, you know, they basically mainly brought over Japanese games, and Japanese games are usually RPGs or, well, shooters. Continuing with PS1, we're going to get to the cool stuff now. Lunar 2, and Ark the Lads. So we'll go in order. My Lunar box is rough. I do feel bad about that. I mean, nothing, you know, what are you going to do when you find one of these out in the wild? You get what you can get. So first thing is you can open them up. This one's kind of Velcroed. And it tells you everything this collection comes with. And I'm not going to bother reading it because I'm just going to show you. So, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete comes with the original receipt. No. So it comes with a cool hardback book. A cloth map for the game. How cool is that? I mean, and the funny thing is, you know, you've seen my videos now, and you're gonna hopefully keep watching them. You know, I love doing unboxings, but I mean, just imagine being back in the 90s or the early, you know, 2000s, and you buy a game like this. You know, it has interviews with the art director, full color hardback books. strategy stuff. I mean, maps, weapons. It's just awesome. And then you have the game itself. This is what a lot of people saw because this is what you got if you didn't get the special edition. And I mean, it's a big one, you know, 4 discs, I think. And like I said before, the disc variants, actually the last one's a soundtrack, but the disc variants vary from copy to copy. I've had 2 of these copies before in my life. One of them I had short-lived because I bought it for a friend, and surprisingly, even though this box is rough, that one was even rougher. But yeah, both sets I had entirely different discs. So it's just really cool how they did that. You know, are you gonna get multiple copies of the game to collect them all? Probably not, but it's still a cool thing. Now, on to Lunar 2. This one is a lot thicker, and once again, tells you what's all in the collector's edition. So this one and Ark the Lad had some way cool stuff. So, I mean, right out the gate, you can see there's more in here. So let's do it in order of operations here. Here's the game. This is what you'd see if you didn't have the collector's edition. And once again, disc variants all the way across the systems. So this one actually came with the making of Lunar 2. I mean, it's so cool. So cool they include stuff like this. And it's also kind of easy to see why this company went out of business, because they included so much. Now we have the Omeki box. I don't know how to speak Japanese, I'm sorry. But this and Ark the Lad both had one of these, and they have a bunch of cool stuff in it. So, this one comes with a map and pop-up character pieces. And it has little instructions on how to make them. It's like a little game. It's really cool. But here's what's crazy. Is in this little pouch here, it is the... Hold on, let me show you. The amulet from the game. I mean, that is nuts. You know, like I said, it's kind of easy to see how this company would go out of business because they included all this insane stuff in these collector's editions. And I don't know how crazy people were for collector's editions back then. You know, nowadays it could probably fly, but back then maybe not so much. Once again, you have a soundtrack, which, I mean, you can't really beat that. And the leather-bound hardback book, you know, controls, all color, just cool art, characters. I mean, they really went above and beyond with this one, which is great, because for someone like me who likes stuff like this, it's cool, you know? You get to experience something that not many people have, because, you know, if you think collector's editions are hard to get nowadays, try to get a collector's edition like this from then nowadays, you know. Poof. Good luck. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, Ark the Lad collection. Now this one's really cool if you are a fan of what do you call it? Strategy RPGs. I'm kind of lukewarm on strategy RPGs myself. I don't dislike them, but I'm turn-based and action are probably my go-to. But this is a cool one because it's actually 4 games. It's the first 4 Ark the Lad games, so there's actually 5 discs in here. Look, you have to flip this thing like a book. Pretty cool. Once again, the hardbound leather cool book, all sorts of art and character information and what have you. And then now the box for this one was really cool, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so we have a memory card case, which is awesome. I mean, that's neat. The same little pop-up character thing as the other one. But then we have these little guys. These are actually thumbstick covers for your PlayStation controller, so you could, you know, have your favorite characters on your thumbstick. I always thought that was really cool, really weird. But yeah, I mean, really cool set. Oh, carefully get these back in. This one's actually in the best condition out of all of them I have. Move these off to the side. Another quick non-game that's really cool. I got this online from a random Japanese seller. It's actually just the Lunar Japanese soundtrack. Just pretty cool. Neat to have. Put it on the shelf. Good music, by the way. Some of the best RPG music. I mean, all those 90s RPG music seems to be really good, though, so it's not very surprising. Now let's go to the Sega CD. So, they made 4 games. Lunar 1 and 2 originally came out on the Sega CD. So Lunar 1, actually there's 2 variants of the book, and I have them both. I have the shiny one and the not shiny one. A good friend of mine helped me get the second one. I wasn't particularly looking for it, but he had a lock on one, and I was like, well, I'm not going to say no to that. So this is about as complete as it gets, really. And then, of course, you have Lunar 2. It's the original version for the Sega CD, which, if you love load times, you'll love some of that. Popful Mail. This is a weird game. It's like a platformer, side-scroller. It kind of is like, reminds me of like Zelda 2, but just way better. These games are awesome. This game is very hard to get. I don't know if there's an easy way to emulate it, but I highly recommend it if you can. And Vey is an RPG, and it's kind of your classic Monster Hunter. Maybe it reminds me of Lufia, the way it's set up. Why did I say Monster Hunter? I meant Dragon Quest. I don't know. Anyway, kind of like Lufia, how it plays. And cool thing about these older Working Designs games, they tell you what you're getting. So RPG, action RPG. And both of these, of course, say RPG because they're turn-based. But that is the Sega CD part of the collection. Now I'm going to go through the heavy hitters. These are all very hard to get and very coveted. These are the Sega Saturn ones. So we have Shining Wisdom, which is an action RPG. This one is very cool. It plays a lot like Zelda. I mean, the graphics are amazing. Pretty much anything. Sega Saturn is like one of my favorite consoles. It sucks that there's no good way to play the games without physically owning them, because games like this are awesome, but people, obviously and rightfully so, would not want to pay what these games cost because they're just stupid because you can't emulate it. Sega Ages. This is a weird one. You know, they're known for bringing over RPGs and stuff, this and the next one. Except for this is basically just Sega Ages. I mean, it's been on many different systems, but this one you get Outrun, Afterburner 2, and Space Harrier. Nothing fancy about it. I think this and the next game are actually the cheapest ones on the list. But, when you're talking Sega Saturn, what does that mean? Iron Storm. So this is a strategy game. It's kind of like a World War II strategy game. Once again, not one I played much of. I mainly got this one to complete the collection, and this was one of the cheaper ones. So, just gotta finish out the shelf. Now, the next 3 are very good, very hard to get. Magical Knight Rayearth. This is an awesome game. It's an action RPG. You play as these 3 girls, each one having a different ability. One has a sword, one has a rapier, and one has a bow. Plays a lot like Zelda. And then there's also disc variants for this, and this is the girl who uses the rapier. In fact, that's the 3 characters there. And yeah, I mean, this game is stupid hard to get. I got lucky, and one of my local game exchanges in Texas had one. It wasn't a good deal or anything, but it was still a great game to get. Dragon Force. This is a strategy RPG, and also one of the few strategy RPGs I really like. And I mean really like. The sprites are amazing. I don't have any pre-recorded gameplay, but I might snag some online. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just do a video on some of these later on, just to show you some of the gameplay. But this game is really cool. Like I said, it's one of the few strategy RPGs I'm a fan of. And then last but not least, rounding out the Sega Saturn, is Albert Odyssey. This is your classic RPG. Plays a lot like maybe a Final Fantasy or a Lufia. The point of view is more Final Fantasy VII. or really if you played Lunar, it's just a lot like Lunar. Really awesome game. And that brings us to the last ones. The PS2. So, first off, 2 quick games. Gun Griffin Blaze, very cheap, easy to get. And Sylphid, which is, it's alright, it's a shooter. The only problem I have with this game is it feels like the thumbsticks should be flip-flopped. And I don't know much about modding controllers, but I have really debated somehow figuring out a way to flip-flop those 2 inputs, because I want to play this game, but it is so hard to play with the thumbsticks. You're looking with the one you should be walking with, and you're walking with the one you should be looking with. That's the only complaint I have about this game. That's also probably why this game is like $5, which is a shame. And then the last 2 are Growlancer games. I'm going to open this one last because it's an actual Working Designs game. This one is just like how Xseed took Lunar, Atlas took over Growlancer. So this has some cool stuff in it, like the others. Oop. You have a cool illustrated book, full color, which is nice. And then you have the game itself, of course, which has a media disc and the actual game, and then the manual. So, pretty neat. Like I said, even in the PS2 days, something like this is pretty nice. It's not something you get all the time. Not something very common. But if you thought that those PS1 games were over the top, especially with that amulet, it is nothing compared to this. So the Growlancer series, it's an RPG series. The game itself, I can't really speak to it being good or great. I haven't beaten it, so I'm sorry about that. But this is nuts what this comes with. Let me pull it all out here. So, this is everything you get in this. First off, let's just get to the classic. Okay, you got your soundtrack, CD. Always love a good soundtrack. The game itself, heavy, because it's a couple discs and a thick manual. But that is not all. You get, in this pouch here, the ring from the game. Oh, there we go, sorry. The ring from the game on a chain, like a necklace. You get a set of cards. This is actually unopened, so I'm not going to open it up. But a set of cards from the game. I think they're character stuff. I don't think it's like playing cards, but I may be wrong about that. I should look that up. But like I said, I may be wrong. I believe this is the last game Working Designs made before they did go under. And you can kind of tell why. So you get a soundtrack, a ring necklace, these cards, this game, all this stuff printed in color. And then on top of all of that, you get a freaking watch. I mean, it's, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. But, maybe they knew this was going to be their final game. And they were like, screw it. One last hurrah. But, man, so that is everything from my Working Designs shelf. I'm really glad you guys got to check it out with me. So, once again, thank you so much for subscribing and joining me on these fun adventures we have all the time. I'm glad you got to see a little piece of my collection. Pippin thanks you too, but he is off to go see his madre. But once again, thanks for watching the videos and enjoying this whole adventure I've been on for the last couple month and a half. I'm glad you guys got to check out a little piece of my collection. Like I said, it's actually one of my favorite shelves on here. I think as we go through the milestones, we'll hit some more stuff and we'll have some more fun. If there's anything in specific you guys want to see, leave it in the comments. If you guys have played or like any of this Working Design stuff, please check it out and throw it in the comments too. If you're not subscribed, feel free to join the Blips and Pips armada. We're not quite an army yet. We'll say an armada right now. We number in the tens. The tens. But it's like I say, it's been fun. Thanks for watching this stuff. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you guys are enjoying Halloween Horror-thon. That might date this video now for being October, but whatever. And we'll have, of course, we're going to keep those going the rest of the month. So once again, thanks for watching, and take it easy.